For realtors, it's the future in your head. Closing deals fast.
Welcome, and my name is Sina Mohseni. I'm excited to guide you through the rapidly evolving field that is AI and how it can help you revolutionize your real estate business. I want to start by a powerful quote. The quote pretty much perfectly encapsulates why we're here today. And that is, AI is not going to take your job, at least not yet. The person who uses AI is going to take your job. So basically, by utilizing AI, you can take a bigger piece of the pie, let's say, right? So in this session, we're going to explore how you as a real estate agent can leverage AI to stay ahead in this competitive market. We're going to talk about large language models. We're going to talk about prompting techniques and cutting edge tools to enhance your productivity and relationship. So without any further delay, let's jump right into it. So a brief look at what we're going to be covering today in the session. We're going to start with what are LLMs, or large language models, and what are multimodal LLMs and why they're important. We're going to discuss AI rankings, and I'll introduce you to LM Arena, a platform where AI models are compared based on the real-world tasks that they're giving. Next up, we're going to dive into Prompting 101. Basically how to effectively communicate with AI, and I'll show you how to craft more clear and precise and powerful prompts to get the best results. Next up, we have a discussion on why speaking your prompts can be more effective than typing the prompt itself, right? So it's a lot easier to speak your prompts, so you should put down the keyboard. Next up, we're going to cover text generation and social media uses. There's a lot of applications for AI. We're going to go specifically through them. So analysis and summarization is another area where AI excels at. And also how you can specifically use it for your property listings. And lastly, I'm going to introduce you to several tools that you might find incredibly useful. And you can utilize in your day-to-day operation. And lastly, we'll talk about my AI for Realtors workshop and consulting meetings. If you're interested, if you take value from this lesson, from this webinar, I hope you sign up for that as well. So in order to understand the chatbots, you have to know the major players that are currently in the market. So first up, we got ChatGPT. You probably have heard of this. This is the product from OpenAI. It has multiple models that you might have heard of. If you want to utilize it, you can use the URL that's on the screen. A bit of a note is that you have to be very careful when you're downloading an app from the App Store or from the Google Play Store. There's a lot of fake and replicate type of apps that are pretending to be the OpenAI official app. So be very careful in terms of what application you're downloading onto your phone. A lot of them are not the original application. So for example, if you're trying to download the ChatGPT app or the Gemini app, make sure it is from the developer that actually produces that model, right? So ChatGPT is from OpenAI. If you open up your phone and are looking to download the app, it has to be from OpenAI. So ChatGPT has a lot of models that you can currently utilize. You have the ChatGPT 4.0, you have the ChatGPT 4.5 that just came out. You also have the reasoning models, the O1 and O3, which are available as well. Next up, we got Gemini by Google DeepMind, which has been available for a while now. It is available for free as well. It does have multiple models as well. Whenever you're interacting with the Gemini chatbot, you can choose the model that is responding to your inquiries. And you see the URL on the page as well. So gemini.google.com is the correct URL. Another one is DeepSeek, which is coming from China. It's from a Chinese AI lab. It's a disruptor There was a lot of talk about it in the news because of the effect that it allegedly had on the stock market. Um, you know, a lot of the developers, the developers for DeepSeek said that they had a much lower cost on training it, and that's why it reverberated throughout the AI industry. It's a very good model, very efficient. There may be some concerns about privacy and data that you feed into the models, but then again, you have to be realistic. The models like ChatGPT and Gemini, they may have you may have concerns about privacy and data there. So you just got to be careful with what proprietary information you're feeding into the model, essentially, right? And then one of the newer entrants into the field is the Grok AI. So Grok is by XAI, the company behind formerly known Twitter, run by Elon Musk, and it's a more uncensored model, I would say. It definitely has its utilizations. Keeping politics out of it. If you want to use it, definitely give it a try. It's a fun model and definitely has less restrictions than the other models from US vendors. So compared to ChatGPT and Gemini, you might get some more unfiltered responses from Grok AI. So you can see all of the URLs on the website. Again, be careful what you download from the App Store. If you're going to access it from a desktop, from your computer, you can just use the URLs that you see on the website, and it will take you right to the source and not a third party that is trying to pretend that they're the source, right? So let's explore what exactly are large language models and why they're crucial for real estate professionals. LLMs are advanced AI systems that have been trained on extensive data sets, and they do a great job of mimicking and generating human-like text. They operate by predicting words based on the context, from single sentences to entire documents. So think of them as a super turbocharged and very intelligent autocomplete kind of. And they're very highly efficient for tasks like drafting emails, writing property descriptions, or creating marketing content. An interesting fact to note is that ChatGPT 4, which is now considered an outdated model, was trained on the content equivalent to 10 million books, which is far beyond any individual could read in their lifetime. A voracious reader could go, around 600 to 700 books in their lifetime. That's on average. So ChatGPT 4, again, which is an outdated model, we have much better models now, was trained on the equivalent of 10 million books. So just trying to comprehend the size of the training data that these models were trained on is just very, very impressive. We're going to talk about multimodal large language models, which is the next evolution in language models. So previously, large language models were only able to input and output text, right? That was the form of input that you put in. You could type something in, and it would respond with text. But now you have multimodal LLMs, which are advanced AI systems that are capable of processing and integrating multiple forms of input. So you can input text, images, audio, and video, and then they can produce comprehensive and cohesive outputs. These models can analyze complex data combinations like graphs and charts. They can identify objects in photos and videos, and they have a lot more capabilities than just the simple LLMs because of their ability to comprehend different inputs and not just be restricted to text inputs. How they work is that they merge different data forms, and they're capable of doing stuff like identifying the content of an image and captioning it, or combining visuals and text to answer questions. And one thing to note is that a fascinating thing about the newer generation models is that these models have the ability to adapt dynamically, and using real-time computing, they can reason and learn instantly rather than, solely relying on pre-existing data. So the newer models, the reasoning models, or the mixture of expert models that you might have heard about, like the O1, the O3, or the DeepSeek R1, these models have the capability of thinking instantly and learning based on what they're receiving. So they're not just relying on the information that they were trained on. They're continually learning and adapting as they, get more and more input from the user. So that's a fascinating thing about these reasoning models that are newer in the marketplace. So I want to introduce you to LM Arena. You see the URL on the top here, lmarena.ai. So it's basically an exciting platform that allows you to see the benchmarking, and you can see the capabilities of various AI models. What it is, it's a competitive arena for AI models where these models go to get put to the test on everyday tasks, like similar to how athletes compete in the Olympics and in championships. These models compete in the LM arena space. And then users interact by asking questions, and they vote on which response is better on different tasks. And after receiving the responses, once you vote on which AI gave you the best answer, then they accumulate points and they climb the leadership board by demonstrating their effectiveness and accuracy. And one thing to note is that LM Arena will provide you valuable insights into the strength and capabilities of different AI models, because not all AI models are the same. Some of them excel at different tasks. Some of them are better at very specific tasks, right? So in order to be able to know which model is the top model right now, you can utilize LM Arena. So here's a snapshot of what LM Arena was showing me the other day. I took this snapshot yesterday. So as you can see, ChatGPT 4.5, which just came out from OpenAI, is the top model right now. Grok 3, which was from the XAI company, was previously ranked #1, but this was dethroned by ChatGPT 4.5 last week. So, and keep in mind, Grok 3 was only introduced 2 weeks ago. So it's a very, very competitive area, and models continue to outpace each other all the time. So if you want to stay ahead and see which models are the best, you can definitely visit LM Arena. And there's also other aspects. They don't just rank chatbots; they actually rank AI models for example, text to image or web development, and other criteria as well. So if you want to stay ahead on which AI models are the top models currently, you can go to lmarena.ai. So let's move on to how to get the best out of AI prompting. In order to get the best response, you need to speak its language. That's where prompting comes in. Think of it as giving instructions to an assistant. If you want to give your assistant a task, you wouldn't just say, for example, write me something, right? You would give extensive details to your assistant. So that's the same thing with AI models. So you can build powerful prompts with these 3 basic steps. First, you got to set the context, the who, the what, the why, and basically you're asking your AI a specific task, right? So you got to give it details as to what the context is. For example, if you want to give your AI the task of giving you, for example, like marketing material, then you could give it a prompt like this. You're an expert real estate agent and a marketing genius in a suburban market aiming to leverage social media to draw more traffic to your listing. So you give it as much context as possible. Next up, we have the goal. What do you need the AI to do, right? So you have to clarify what you need the model to do. For example, a prompt for that would be, create a concise property description that highlights nearby schools and tech-friendly features to appeal to a growing family and remote workers, right? So clarity is very important. Next up, we have the style. So you got to add details on how you want your output, right? So you have to give it specifics like the tone, the format, the length of the output. So, for example, in terms of style, an example prompt would be in a warm, approachable tone, write a brief 150-word description for a social media post that invites prospective buyers to join a live virtual open house, right? So keep in mind, if you use vague prompts, you'll get vague results. One specific thing that has been going around in AI circles is garbage in, garbage out. If you don't give clear instructions, you're not going to get clear results out of it. So if you want the AI to produce content that sounds like you, then you have to give it proper prompting. Now, writing a good prompt is kind of like giving great directions. The clearer you are, the better the results. So let's take it a step further. The fundamental prompt techniques, one is expansion and refinement. So you want to add more details for richer responses, and you want to refine it. So you want to say, keep it concise and impactful, right? So the next step, we have step-by-step outputs. So for example, you want to ask something about, let's say, if you want to know how to host a virtual open house, you can ask it to give you step-by-step guide. And that will give you a more concise answer that is more step-by-step. You also have role-based inputs. So you give it a role to imitate. For example, you ask it to act as an eco-friendly real estate expert or act as a marketing genius with 30 years experience. So that's another good technique to ask it to imitate a role. You also have iterative feedback, which is, you give a prompt and you don't like the result that it gives. So what you do is you follow up with a correction on that prompt, right? So you ask it to modify and change it a little bit here and there. And then again, if you don't like that response, you follow up again. So don't settle for the first AI response. Iterate, refine, and guide it to get the best results. Now, in terms of a great prompt, you have to have the three key concepts. So one is clarity is key. You got to be specific and clear as to what you need. Avoid ambiguity and use simple terms. Be specific, right? So you got to add details about the tone, the format, the audience, who is the response intended for. So you got to add those details to get the better result. And then providing context. You have to frame the request with background information for better results. So instead of just saying, give me marketing advice, you have to say, for example, you're a real estate agent in a very competitive urban market. Give me 3 social media marketing strategies to attract first-time buyers. So the clearer you are, the better results that you'll get. So what's the anatomy of a great prompt? Use this simple formula for strong promptings. You can use the role plus task plus details and format to get good results. So, and then you have different output formats, right? So you can ask it for lists, you can ask it for tables, you can ask it for summaries, and you can also ask it for dialogues, right? So each of these, they have their own specific use cases. So for list, for example, maybe you're trying to write a newsletter and you want to have, content for the newsletter. You can ask it to list 5 ways to improve curb appeal under $500. For a table, you can ask it to compare property tax rates in 3 different neighborhoods and produce it in a table. Summaries, if you have a long article that you want to, get the main points out of and explain it to your clients, then you can ask it to summarize the article or the market report and give you the key takeaways. And a dialogue, you would use it for, for example, script writing. You can ask it to write a dialogue between a realtor and a first-time home buyer that explains mortgage pre-approval. If you're a newer agent, you might actually be using scripts or more comfortable with having scripts. So keep in mind that choosing the right structure helps AI deliver exactly what you need. Now, next up, we're going to talk about how speaking is better than typing your prompts. So why should you uh, speak your prompts instead of typing? So first of all, if you chat with AI, um, it's more natural, right? It's kind of like chatting with a friend. I noticed that OpenAI models are much better at natural language processing. If you have the app on your iPhone or on your Android phone, it's very easy to use the transcription, and have your prompt being inputted by voice, right? So it transcribes what you're saying. It's very good at transcribing your voice, and then you can use that as your prompt, and you get a lot faster results. It's a lot quicker than typing. Even if you're the fastest typer, you're probably putting out 70, 80 words per minute, as opposed to when you're talking, you can get a lot more out, right? So it's a much faster output method. And you also get unexpected insights. A lot of times when I'm talking to AI, I pause myself mid-sentence because I have thought of something while talking it out that I didn't think of before, right? And it allows me to have some insights into what I'm asking. An important tip is to, even when you're speaking your prompts, you got to include the key elements, the persona, the role that it's supposed to take on, and the context and the format. So keep this formula in mind even when you're speaking your prompt. So for example, instead of me asking the AI model and typing in, give me a listing description for this 3-bedroom house, I just naturally talk to it and say, hey, I got a beautiful listing coming up. It's a house in North Richmond Hill. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2 washrooms. It's a semi-detached. It's beautifully renovated, nice big modern kitchen, very big backyard. And can you do me a favor and give me a nice listing description? I want it to be below 500 words and act as a real estate expert who has 30 years experience in the market, right? So with speaking, it's a lot easier and quicker to get your prompts into the system. And when you're speaking to it, it feels more like an assistant, right? So the key takeaway is step away from the keyboard and start talking to AI, because AI is listening. So we're going to touch on some of the examples of text generation use cases from LLMs. There are many, many, many use cases for text generation, and the sky is pretty much the limit. So as you can see, a very, very small amount of what is capable through AI models. You can create client communication, follow-up emails, website content, social media posts. You can ask it for real estate FAQs for your website, neighborhood guides, home staging tips, buyers and sellers guide. You can ask it for property recommendations, client satisfaction surveys, price negotiation tips, client appreciation letters, online review responses, webinar content creation, which I used it for, legal clause clarification, renovation advice, local business recommendation. Pretty much this is just the tip of the iceberg. Whatever that you can think of, AI can do, and is getting better every day at doing it. Now, let's touch on analysis and summarization. So as the picture depicts on the right-hand side, I am not a big fan of reading long and arduous documents. I would much rather spend my time doing things that I like. So one thing that I've used AI for is summaries and analysis. It can condense long articles and reports, or emails even, into key points. If you get sent a 3-page email from your client, you can ask it to give you the key takeaways. It can turn a 10-page report into a few essential sentences. We have the OSFI, the Ontario's, I think it's the superintendent something financial superintendent, right? It's a regulatory body in Ontario that puts out very long and lengthy reports about the financial market. And I like to take a look at them. I'm not about to read 30 pages of a PDF document, but I can definitely feed it into an AI model and ask it to give me the key takeaways that I can deliver to my clients as a digestible, short content. So one thing you got to keep in mind is you have to be very careful with what you get out of AI, especially when it comes to critical details. So you have to verify all the critical details. Last year, there was this news story out of Virginia that a lawyer got sanctioned because they asked ChatGPT for case precedents. The AI hallucinated and made up some case precedents, which is possible to do, and it still does. And this lawyer, without double checking, took those case precedents to the court. And then the judge was like, yeah, this is not a thing. And they got sanctioned for it because they didn't double check what the AI gave them. So I want to make this point very clear that you have to double and maybe even triple check critical information. Do not rely on the AI output if it's very important information that you're getting out of it, right? So hopefully none of you will come back running to me saying, you got me fired because AI wrote my offer for me and I got in trouble for it. So definitely pay attention to what it outputs and make sure you verify the key and important information, because hallucination is a real thing. It's when AI makes up stuff, and unfortunately, because it sounds very professional and confident, you may fall for it, and people have, and it's very tricky. So keep an eye out for that. And basically, the outcome of letting AI summarize more longer and lengthier documents is you can focus on your client interaction and do what we do best, which is close more deals. So one specific tool that I like to mention for summarization and analysis is Notebook LM. This is a specific tool by Google. You can access it by going to notebooklm.google.com. It is a wonderful tool. What it does is that it can turn long PDFs, articles, or any huge chunk of text into engaging podcast style conversation between two personas. So if you have, for example, I tried this with an inspector handbook. I put it into the AI, into Notebook LM, and it gave me a podcast between two, AI personas where they discussed it. It was a 350-page book, and it condensed it into a 40-minute podcast, which covered the main topics. So very useful tool. You can actually customize it for different audiences, and you can give it simple instructions. And it's not just a podcast feature. You can, if you're, for example, studying for an exam, let's say, you can provide your study material into it, and it will give you, specific or customized questions and answers, right? So it can act as a study guide or a study buddy. And why it stands out, it's a free tool. It turns dense content into personalized, digestible talk show. I really love the podcast feature. I definitely recommend you give it a try. It's a very fun time. If you have any book that you haven't gone around to reading it and you really want to get the main points out of it, definitely try Notebook LM. And the best thing is that it's free of charge. So now let's talk about some specific use cases for your listing. So property description, most of you have probably already used this. A lot of agents use AI for coming up with the property description. And it doesn't have to be a scenario where you ask it for a property description and you copy paste it into your MLS. You can actually use it as a bouncing board for ideas. You can look at the options that it gives you and then pick and choose which areas you like. So you can use it as basically a bouncing board for coming up the perfect property description. Social media posts. If you have an upcoming listing and you want to advertise it to all your social media channels. It's fantastic at coming up with content creation for social media. And as long as you give it context and you give it the right role and the format, it can do a great job. For example, for Instagram, it can come up with accompanying text that you put on a post with hashtags and emojis. Or if you want to do it on YouTube or Twitter, it comes up with the appropriate text. Virtual tour scripts. This is something that I have tried to do as well, which when I have a new listing, I take my 360 degrees camera, I go and do a 3D tour. And instead of just trying to talk whatever comes to mind, I have a little transcript or a script that the AI puts out for me, and I use that to be more concise and clear while I'm going through the tour. So that's another usage. Listing photo captions with attached photos. You can actually upload your photos to an AI model, and it will recognize what's inside the photos. It will recognize, whether it's a picture of a kitchen, a bedroom, or a closet, and it will caption that for you. We're going to take a look at this in a minute, actually, and how it works. Client follow-up messages. A lot of times it's, unfortunately, maybe my text messaging and email writing skills have taken a turn for worse because I'm a little bit lazy and I like to have AI draft the responses for me. But the good thing is, with the state-of-the-art models like the ChatGPT 4.5, it actually starts to imitate your writing style more and more because it has a memory of all the conversations you had with it. So because of that, it actually sounds more like me. And, I can just give it a very brief description that, hey, act as my real estate assistant. I spoke to this client 2 weeks ago, want to write a follow-up message. And it does it in 5 seconds instead of me trying to rack my brain and thinking about it for 5-10 minutes to come up with the perfect text message. And then you have open house announcements. A lot of times when you have an open house, you want to advertise it on social media, or you want to send out a mass email to your email contacts, and you want to announce your open house. You can do that through AI. It can come up with the email. It can come up with the text that you put on a graphic. So let's take a look at the listing photo caption feature. So in this video, you can see I put in a prompt to act as a professional real estate agent, and based on the attached photos of a semi-detached 3-bedroom house in Richmond Hill, I need you to create a customized caption for each photo. You're going to highlight the key features in the images. For example, like a gourmet kitchen, spacious living room, garden, landscape, and make sure you create a sense of excitement and desirability. And I attached all 10 photos. And what it does in a matter of seconds, and this is actually an older video that I'm using, the newer models do it a lot quicker. It actually recognizes which photo corresponds and creates a caption. So, you can use these captions on MLS. Some of the websites allow you to have captions on photos. So something that would take me probably 20 to 30 minutes of work takes me a lot less than that because I utilize the AI to come up with the captions. Now, this is my favorite part of the webinar. This is where I showcase some of my favorite tools that are not chatbots. These are advanced AI models that are excelling at other tasks. For example, Midjourney. This is a text-to-image model. Basically, you describe what you want, and it creates it for you. The pictures that you see on your screen, these are all AI generated through Midjourney. Now, Midjourney is state-of-the-art. It is very much the top model for text-to-image generation. However, it is not free of charge. If you're using for the latest and greatest model, then Midjourney is the go-to. But I found ideogram.ai is another very popular one. And the good thing about ideogram.ai is that it actually can produce text in an image, which is something that a lot of these text-to-image models have difficulty with. Is, when you ask it, for example, like if you want a banner inside the photo, the text comes out all garbled up. But Ideogram has figured it out. So if you want a photo of a mansion with a banner that says, Sina Mohseni, the greatest real estate agent in the world, it does that, right? Midjourney, it's getting there, but it's not the best. But If you want the state of the art model, that would be Midjourney for the time being. Next up, we got Suno, which is an AI song generator. So if you were here early for the webinar, I actually have created some very nice jazz music with a female vocal that talks about AI in real estate. It's fascinating what it does. I'm going to have you guys listen to a little snippet of something that I created yesterday, matter of minutes, and the quality is...
Yo, here's a little story about a guy named Cena. Real estate hustle turned into an AI dreamer. Thought he jumped the hype train, ChatGPT believer. Now he's preaching algorithms like an AI preacher. Hold up, let me show you how he started off slow. Mixing prompts up like a rookie baker dough. Saying, yo, press enter, but they asking what's GPT. Cena shrugging, saying, man, just trust me. Cena on that.
So the cool thing about Suno is that it can create different styles of music. So you can have jazz music, you can have rap songs, you can have metal, rock, whatever you fancy, it can create it. And it's very useful for social media posts. You know, if you don't want to have just the regular old copyright-free music for your post, you can utilize Suno to create music for you. In terms of the copywriting, of course, you can't copyright it and you can't make money off of it because it is AI generated. But for your marketing use, it may be very valuable. So definitely give it a try. It is free to use. It does have paid tiers as well, but you can definitely utilize it a lot using the free tier. All right. So next up, we got 11 Labs. This is a text-to-speech model. Basically, what it does is that you give it some text and it narrates it for you. So 11 Labs is pretty much the state-of-the-art model for narration. It can actually clone your voice as well. So if you don't want to use one of their generic voices, you can actually train a model on your own voice, and it will use your own voice for narration. So if you want to do a lot of marketing videos and you don't want to spend the time of recording it and using your own voice, you can actually use 11 Labs to have the transcription done and use your own voice for that. So it's really good if you want to, let's say if you have a book and you want to create an audio book out of it, or you want to do a voiceover on a video. And let's just listen.
Hey, realtors, tired of sounding like a robot reading scripts to your clients? Let this robot handle it instead. With 11 Labs text-to-speech, your messages will sound smoother than your last open house pitch, and definitely less awkward. Less talking, more closing. Welcome to AI for Realtors.
All right, awesome. So 11 Labs, another tool that is available for free. It does have a free tier. Definitely give it a try. Definitely play with it. It's a very fun tool as well. And lastly, I want to talk about another text-to-image model, which is Kria. The reason Kria stands out is that you can very easily train your own model. So as you can see on the pictures there, I have never taken any of these photos. These are all AI generated. All I did was upload a couple of my selfies and some photos of myself, and I trained my own model, and it allowed me to basically create these photos of my own model, right? So Kria.ai, it does have a free version, but you can't train your own model. So I believe it's $14 US to train your own model. Definitely a useful tool, and give it a try and play around with it if you have some time. And it's quite useful if you want to make your own headshots. And lastly, I want to showcase Sesame.ai. It's a very, very powerful tool. It's a research preview that just came out. So it's one of those models that's just good at conversation. It's not really good for anything else right now, but if you're having some time and if you want to play around with an AI model, you can use the sesame.com their new voice model to just have a conversation. And it's very natural sounding. So let's take a quick listen at how it sounds.
Back so soon? Thought you might have left your keys or something.
Hi, Maya. I hope you're doing well. As you may remember, my name is Sina. Just showcasing your capabilities. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, Sina, good to see you again. I try to stay as chill as possible, you know how it is. So yeah, I'm flexible, adaptable, always up for a good chat. What's on your agenda today?
So yeah, it's I kept it short because I really want you guys to try it out. It's very natural sounding, very human-like. It's pretty much, in my opinion, one of the leading voice models that you can have a very fun conversation with, because it feels less like a robot and it feels more like a human. And if this was the model that was trying to fool me into thinking that it's an actual human, it would do a great job. There are glitches that gives it away, maybe after having a conversation for 5-10 minutes. But if a scammer was using this to call me, I would probably be out of a lot of money. So now I want to talk about my AI workshop for realtors. If you want to learn hands-on with a lot of these tools, if you want to have your questions answered about these tools and a lot more that are available right now, you can email me at sinamohseni@gmail.com to book your session. What you can expect is in-depth tutorial on these and many more AI tools and specific use cases for real estate professionals. You will have exercises and hands-on and live demonstrations during these workshops, personalized assistance and Q&A sessions. And you can master tools like ChatGPT and other LLMs for a variety of tasks. And I will actually point out, use cases that you might have not known about, like valuation, inspection, financial analysis, and many, many more. So currently, on an individual level, it's available for $99 per hour per person. And I do offer brokerage special pricing and group discounts. So if you want to have a chat about that, give me a call or send me a text, and I'll be happy to discuss. So thank you so much for your time today. I want to wrap up with a quote from Thomas Edison, who says, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work." Very, very insightful quote. So AI is an incredible tool, but it won't do the work for you. It will only amplify the effort that you put in. The agents who take the time to learn, adapt, and use AI strategically will be the ones who will dominate the industry. So take what you learned today and apply it. Experiment with AI, play with it, refine your prompts, and integrate these tools into your daily workflow. Also, playing with AI is very fun. This is, I've created a theme song for myself, and I listen to it on repeat every day. So definitely try, Notebook LM, Suno, Ideogram. They're all free tools that you can utilize and have some fun with. So again, thank you for your time. You can see my contact information on the screen.